Welcome back to Tide TV, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Ricky Green, here for Tide Talk Sports. And today we're going to give a preview of early signing day for Alabama football fans. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss a single minute of today's episode of Tide Talk. All right, I want to start off today's episode here on Tide TV with a question for our viewers. Like we usually always do, get in the comment section right now and let me know how many five-star recruits do you believe Alabama will sign in the class of 2021, currently sitting at 6, but I want to know how many you think Alabama will have when all is said and done. I'll pin this down in the comment section, and I'm looking forward to seeing how many five stars you believe Nick Saban and his Alabama Crimson Tide coaching staff will be able to sign in the class of 2021. All right, like we said in the introduction for today's video, this is our early signing day preview. So we're going to take a look at a few prospects on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive prospects that Crimson Tide fans should definitely be excited about signing their letter of intent with the University of Alabama just 2 days from now on Wednesday, early signing day 2020. All right, we'll start out on the offensive side of the ball. And if I didn't start looking at a couple of these big-time offensive linemen for the class of 2021, I'd be completely remiss. So that's what we're going to do. J.C. Latham out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, the number one offensive tackle in the class of 2021, the number 2 player nationally, regardless of position, 6'6", over 300 pounds, and just a early impact guy at offensive tackle. Now, Alabama looks to be possibly losing Alex Leatherwood after this season. In fact, I'm almost certain of it. So that'll leave one of those tackle spots wide open for J.C. Latham to compete for that job. But also, you got to look at Tommy Brockemeyer out of Fort Worth, Texas, All Saints Episcopal, 6'6" and a quarter, slightly taller, a little bit more length, and ranked as the number 2 offensive tackle in the class of 2021. So Alabama has the number 1 and the number 2 offensive tackle prospects in the nation, according to the 247 Sports composite rankings. And that's not even looking at the other half of the Brockemeyer twins, brother James, probably the best center prospect in the nation. And Alabama also has a commitment out of Terrence Ferguson, probably the number 1 guard, in my opinion, in the entire nation for 2021 as well. So there's not even really an argument to be made here against Alabama having the best offensive line class in the nation for 2021. And in fact, you'd be hard-pressed to convince me that this may not be the greatest offensive line class of all time, point blank, period. Great job by Coach Kyle Flood and the rest of the staff there at the University of Alabama, making sure that we can just reload on that offensive line for the next 3 or 4 years. In the Southeastern Conference, if you're not winning battles up front on the offensive line and the defensive line, you're not going to win a whole lot of ball games. So Nick Saban and his staff, with that in mind, always make sure to recruit and sign the best of the best along the offensive line and the defensive line as well. Speaking of defensive line, that's where we're going to start our defensive segment of today's episode. We're going to take a look first here at the number 3 defensive tackle nationally, a 5-star prospect. We're talking about Damon Payne, the big fella out of Belleville, Michigan, which, by the way, Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, I don't even believe they offered the kid. Could be one of the reasons that they're having such a struggle getting Michigan, the football program at least, where it wants to go. James Yoder has been very vocal, my boy over at Chat Sports, about the issues with Michigan recruiting and not going after an in-state 5-star defensive tackle was a huge mistake on Michigan's part. But shout out to the University of Alabama coaching staff. They identified this young man early on, went up to Michigan, secured his commitment. He's 6'3.5", 300 pounds, and moves incredibly well for a guy that is his size. Ranked number 19 nationally, regardless of position. And like I said, 247 Sports, the composite, has him ranked at number 3, but I think there's an argument to be made at least for him being the top defensive tackle prospect in the entire nation. Another guy that we're going to look at here on the defensive side of the ball, of course, the Quincy Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Pinson Valley in Pinson, Alabama. 6'1", right around 180, 185 pounds. And he is without a doubt the number 1 cornerback prospect in America for the class of 2021. The 247 Sports Composite Rankings has Quincy ranked as the number 23 player overall, regardless of position. In Alabama, this class is just loaded with elite talent. We have, let's see here, just in the top 50 overall recruits in the nation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 top 50 players. It doesn't get any better than that. Top to bottom, this class is deep, very, very talented, and meets a whole lot of needs for the University of Alabama moving forward. Now we're going to take a look at a couple of inside linebackers that I believe have an argument for being the top 2 middle linebackers in the country for 2021. First, we'll take a look at Deontay Lawson out of Mobile Christian School in Mobile, Alabama. My guy down in Mobile, PJ, shout out to you, homie, has really done a good job watching Deontay Lawson and keeping me informed and up to date on his career throughout high school. And he is somebody that I'm really, really excited about getting to Alabama and putting on that crimson and white uniform. A guy that is absolutely elite, ranked as a 4-star prospect, number 55 overall nationally, but they've got him ranked as the 3rd best inside linebacker prospect. And I, again, would argue that he's the best inside linebacker in the nation. Found out today that he is up for the nation's High School Butkus Award, and that is something that I absolutely believe Deontay Lawson should be able to add to his trophy case. Another in-state kid at middle linebacker that I think is extremely, extremely underrated is Ian Jackson, a middle linebacker out of Prattville, Alabama. 247 Sports has him ranked as an outside linebacker, but he'll make his money playing on the inside as a middle linebacker at Alabama and potentially in the National Football League as well someday. They've got him ranked, like I said, as an outside linebacker. He's 6'2", 225 pounds, and they have him ranked as the 14th best, they being the 247 Sports Composite, of course, 14th best outside linebacker and number 236 nationally, which I believe that Ian is criminally underrated. But that's okay. When he gets to Tuscaloosa and puts on the crimson and white, everybody will find out exactly what Mr. Ian Jackson is all about. Overall, this class is absolutely incredible for the University of Alabama, top to bottom, as deep and talented as any class in the nation in recent history. 6 5-star prospects, and Alabama has a good chance to finish the 2021 class come February with 9 5-star prospects. Speaking of 9 5-star prospects, you do a little simple math here. 9 minus 6 is 3. That's where we get our 3 names for February that Crimson Tide fans need to be familiar with. These are 3 guys that I really believe Alabama and Coach Nick Saban have a great chance to land come February, which is traditionally National Signing Day. First of all, we'll look at Terrion Arnold. I've been told here recently that Nick Saban has personally taken over the recruitment of Terrion Arnold, who I've said time and time again is the best safety in the country, point blank period. And when the GOAT gets involved that heavily, it is highly likely that Alabama will win the battle for Terrion Arnold. and that he will commit to Alabama in February. I'm predicting that that's exactly what's going to happen. I've got Terrion Arnold predicted as of now to the University of Alabama this upcoming February when he commits and signs his national letter of intent. Another guy that you want to be familiar with, of course, is JT Tuimoloau, and I'm sure again I murdered that name, JTT as we call him. The number one player overall in the nation. Ohio State, like we said in yesterday's update on him, has a slight lead, but Alabama is definitely in the game when it comes to JTT. I would say right now Alabama is in second place in his recruitment and really kind of edge neck and neck with Ohio State for that top spot for JTT. The last guy we're going to take a look at today that we probably will see Alabama land in February is a wide receiver prospect, Brian Thomas Jr., out of the state of Louisiana. And I've talked about Brian Thomas ad nauseum in the videos that we've done here on Tide TV the past few months. And now with it looking like Xavier Worthy for sure will stick to his Michigan commitment thanks to that weird deal that's going on between his mother and Josh Gaddis. Brian Thomas Jr. is most definitely the Tide's top remaining target at wide receiver. And I believe the Crimson Tide will slide over into the Bayou State and get their guy in Brian Thomas Jr. come February National Signing Day. If you haven't subscribed to our channel here yet, go ahead and do that for me right now. Smash that subscribe button and help us reach our goal of having over 2,500 subscribers here on Tide TV, on the Alabama Football News and Rumors channel on YouTube, presented by Chat Sports. Again, I'm Ricky Green here for Tide Talk Sports, and this has been our early signing day preview on Tide TV. We'll see you tomorrow when we take a little bit deeper look at a few more prospects and talk a little bit about the upcoming SEC championship game between Alabama and Florida, which, by the way, Alabama's going to win big time. We'll see you next time right here on Tide TV. I'm Ricky Green. Roll Tide.